You know, it seems like everything I do, I kind of do the hard way. We're going to talk about that, how it relates to my life and my hunting and fishing and about everything else. I'll be right back. I'm Dale Verts. I'm original Hickbilly, maybe. Cutting firewood for the first time this season. Pretty late this year in Missouri. I mean, it's 60-something degrees today. But I'm going to have firewood in my restaurant tonight for the first time this year. It's going to be chilly enough, and we heat our restaurant with firewood, and most people really like it. But I'm not talking about cutting wood today. I'm talking about hunting, bow hunting, which I haven't done yet. I did a video quite a while back. I started to do a video a couple weeks ago and it didn't happen. I had some camera issues, which I always have technical issues. I hate technology. I'm shooting stick bows with wood arrows, basically, is what I've done for years. But I haven't bow hunted since 2012, seriously. 3 years ago, I went a couple days and I struggled. I admit my struggles, but I like doing things the hard way. So what I've been doing the last month is shooting for form. Mostly just practicing, just shooting a lot of arrows, trying to relearn a new way to shoot, which hasn't happened. The gap shooting, I just ain't no good at it. So I've decided not to worry about that. So I started last week on tune. And I figured out after several days I don't have enough wood shaft to make the right arrows for the two bows I'm talking about shooting. I've been shooting a bunch of bows. And what I end up doing is trying to take a bow to an arrow instead of an arrow to a bow. Because I'm limited on shafts. I could buy more stuff. I'm running out of time. It's like the 8th of November. The deer are chasing. It's beautiful. It ain't cold. But I like to do some deer hunting before deer season, before gun season. But everything I'm doing is hard. I don't mind hard. I like to do things the hard way. I've always shot traditional equipment. I've shot very few compound. Well, I've shot 300 archery leagues, a couple 3D things. I've hunted deer. I've killed maybe 5 or 6 deer with a compound. Did not ever enjoy it. Generally, I hunted deer with a compound when I didn't have time to work a stick bow because a stick bow is too hard. Now, sometimes you get lucky. For me, I've got hundreds of wood shafts and trying to make some that would spine correctly and everything work. It's just not happening. I've actually got some arrows that shoot perfect out of a 40-pound bow. Anyway, so I'm working on some things like that. It's hard. The whole idea of this is where I'm cutting wood here. My neighbor, my buddy, he's a big bow hunter, big hunter, period. And he could care less about shooting my traditional equipment. I asked him one day out here, I said, you want to shoot? No. He likes his compound, he likes his crossbows. As many deer and turkeys he's killed over the years, you'd think he'd like a challenge. And I'm not picking on him, I'm not picking on anybody. Everything I'm doing is harder than a compound bow. Now, I've set up a ton of compound bows. I worked archery shops. I understand it. But your form does not have to be perfect with a compound to hunt deer. Your tune don't have to be perfect. It ought to be, but it don't have to be. Especially these mechanical heads and all this stuff. It's all cheating ways around the hard way. And so maybe I'm the dummy. Maybe I'm the one that don't have this right. Possibly. So I'm out here cutting wood because I never have. 60 years old, not too old to cut wood. We burn wood at the house. We burn wood in my restaurant. Knocked that old dead red oak down a while ago. I'll chop it up someday. I'll work it over. I'll get it done, maybe. It's hard to get motivated at 60 years old. The bow hunting thing, I have not bow hunted in years. I've had some injuries, some issues, our work, our business, but I'm going to get over that. Especially later on in the season when everybody else is gone. That's my favorite time anyway. I used to bow hunt squirrels and rabbits. I've killed turkey with my stick bows. Called coyotes, killed one coyote once, called in, that was awesome. Missed a bobcat once, I called in. But the people look at what I'm doing, they think it's weird because I do it the hard way. But the satisfaction you get when you make a good clean kill with an old wood bow and maybe wood arrows and a good sharp broadhead, it's just amazing. Truthfully, anything can happen. A lot of times it does, bad things. When I'm in the woods, a deer is 20, 25 yards away with a compound, as long as it's a dead deer. Yeah, things happen. Things happen. Things happen with a rifle. But I see a deer 25 yards with a compound bow. If it's an open enough, I'm going to get that deer. Not so much my stick bows. I kill them that far, but I like a deer 12 to 18 yards. 20 starting to push it. And the way I'm shooting now, 20 is going to be my max, and that's fine. Especially hunting off the ground. I also hunt off the ground a lot. Make it harder. But the satisfaction that I get when I make a good shot and make a clean shot, make a ethically, moral, perfect situation come to play, that's my deal. And I'm not putting myself above anybody. I ain't. As long as you're a hunter, fisherman, enjoying the outdoors, I dig it. I don't do electronics. I don't do game cameras. I don't do fancy depth finders in my boat. I just don't like the modern way of doing things. And yeah, it cost me, but when I accomplish something, I've made it happen, it's a pretty fantastic feeling. One thing I've done different this time around, I've never done much bare shaft tuning. Never saw the need for it. Of course, I was a better shot back in the day. I shot a lot, so my tune was better. I was in the zone of what arrows to use and such. But this time, I went bare shaft. I'm not sure which bow I'm going to shoot. And it's amazing how much you can tune an arrow shaft to a bow. And that's one thing. It's hard to do. It takes a long time. Well, you might get lucky. I got one bow. I got right off the bat. Not a bow I'm hunting with. It was spot on perfect first time. A compound bow will spine like 20 pounds of spine. You buy 55, 75 shafts, 400 shafts. Stick bow ain't going to do that, y'all. It's 5 pounds or less. There's a perfect sweet spot. And you find yourself chasing it maybe too much. But I shot probably 150 or more bare shaft shots, one at a time, through upwards of 5 different bows and down to 2 bows. And I've got one for each bow now. And of course, unfortunately, whatever, they're aluminum. I haven't shot an aluminum arrow through a stick bow since the mid-90s. But that's what I've got. Without ordering more wood shafts in, and which is still on the agenda, by the way. I gotta have my wood. But I started fletching these yesterday. Raining right now. Maybe this afternoon I'll be shooting these. I think they're pretty good. I'll put some broadheads in the next few days. Working my form again. And that's where I'm at. It's a hard deal. It's a lot of work. My kind of work. I enjoy it. It's not attempt at perfection so much, but attempt to satisfy being where I need to be, where I'm making, again, ethical, moral, clean shot on an animal. And to get the penetration to pass through, you've got to have a perfectly straight flying arrow. And that's where I'm at right now. Now, my broadheads are 10 more grains than my field points, which is enough to make a little bit of difference. So I've left my shafts probably a half inch, maybe a half inch from over spine. I think I get the broadhead on, they'll be fine. I'll know better. Now, the other thing about the fletching is kind of interesting to me. I've always shot big old 5-inch feathers. I like the looks of them. I like the way they fly. But a lot of that was to compensate for oops. And I admitted that over the years. That was a bad release, whatever. I went with 4-inch this time. First time ever. And they're lower profile. They're not the high profile shield cut. Again, stuff compound guys have to do. You put little bitty veins on, but you probably don't even need those. And again, it compensates for a bad release, wind, maybe whatever. But I've done this the best way I know how. I've known about bare shaft tuning. I've known about all these things for years, but I finally did it this year. It's helped me. One shot at a time. I made a couple shots, go back to the house, cut the arrow, go back and do it again. And I think I'm pretty close. So it's not easy. It's so satisfying when you make a good shot, though. So trying to be fall. It's in the 40s now and raining. The deer are moving. Hopefully next week or so, I'm going to do some deer hunting. Thank you guys for watching. Not a lot of folks watch these. It's amazing. I did an archery video in July. It got 4,000 or 5,000 views. My last one got 110. So whatever. God bless you guys. Talk at you later.